11 cruise mistakes that used to be smart advice and what actually works now. Cruise advice that was completely correct 5 years ago is now getting people burned. Ships got bigger, pricing got more complicated, booking tools changed, and some of the most repeated cruise tips you will find online, the ones passed around for years, are now the exact reasons experienced cruisers end up frustrated, overpaying, or both. This is the Cruise Smart Channel. We are going through 11 pieces of cruise advice that used to make sense and what the smarter move looks like now. Number 1. Stop booking the cheapest cabin regardless of the ship. For years, the inside cabin was the default recommendation. No window, lower price, you are barely in the room anyway. On a ship with 1,500 passengers, that advice held up. The cabin really was just a place to sleep. On ships carrying 5,000 to 7,000 passengers, the inside cabin is a different product entirely. Pool deck space is severely limited. Public areas are overcrowded on sea days. The frustration is not in the cabin, it is everywhere outside it. And the cabin category you chose determines how much buffer you have from all of it. A cruiser on Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas in an inside cabin reported that getting from their stateroom deck to the pool area on a sea day regularly took 20 minutes because of elevator waits and corridor congestion. Match the cabin to the ship. On mega ships with 5,000 plus passengers, pay for at least an ocean view or balcony. On older, smaller ships, inside cabins are still a reasonable call. Check the ship's passenger capacity before you focus on the price. Coming up, the booking timing advice everyone repeats that is only half the story. Number 2. Stop treating early booking as price protection. Booking early does secure the best cabin selection. It does not secure the best price. Cruise lines adjust fares constantly, and most sailings drop in price at least once between the initial booking and departure. The old advice was simple: book early and lock in. What that advice misses is that dynamic pricing now means the couple who books 10 months out and never checks again is frequently paying more than the couple who booked at the same time and called once to ask for an adjustment. A couple who booked a Carnival sailing 10 months out paid $2,600 for a balcony cabin. They set a monthly alert and called 6 months later when the same cabin was at $2,100. They got $500 in onboard credit just for asking. Book early for cabin selection, then monitor the fare monthly and request an adjustment if it drops before your final payment date. Book and watch beats book and forget every time. Next, why calling the cruise line directly is not always the first call to make. Number 3. Stop assuming booking direct gets you the best deal. Booking directly with the cruise line sounds like the logical move. Cut out the middleman, talk to the source, get the real price. In most consumer markets that works. In cruising, it frequently does not. Cruise specialist travel agents often hold group inventory bought in advance at negotiated rates. They can add perks, onboard credit, cabin upgrades, prepaid gratuities that cruise line agents and websites simply cannot offer. A couple who booked a Princess sailing directly paid $3,200 with nothing extra. A cruise specialist offered the same cabin on the same sailing for $3,000 with $300 in onboard credit and prepaid gratuities valued at $210. Total difference? Over $700. Get the cruise line's quote first, then call a cruise specialist agent and ask them to beat it with extras. That call takes 20 minutes and regularly pays back several $100s. Stay with me. The shore excursion rule that made sense but has a smarter version now. Number 4. Stop booking all shore excursions through the ship. The ship guarantee, they hold departure if your ship run tour runs late, was always the real argument behind this advice. And the logic was sound. Being left behind in a foreign port is not a recoverable situation. What has changed is how much that guarantee actually costs you. Ship excursion markups now run 30 to 50% over what local operators charge for the identical tour. A guarantee worth 10 to 15% of the price does not justify a 40% premium. In Cozumel, Mexico, a snorkeling excursion through the ship in 2025 was $95 per person. The same operator booked directly was $65. A couple saved $60 on a tour with the same guides on the same boat. Use ship excursions in remote or unfamiliar ports where the guarantee genuinely matters. In well-trafficked, familiar ports, Book directly and add a 1-hour buffer before the ship's listed departure time. The risk is real, but manageable. Up next, the packing rule that the cruise industry left behind a few years ago, and most people still have not heard. Number 5. Stop packing full formal wear for every cruise. Not long ago, formal nights meant exactly that. Tuxedos and gowns. Skipping meant a noticeably worse dining room experience. Social pressure on the ship did the enforcing. Most lines have either dropped formal nights entirely or loosened the standard to where smart casual is accepted everywhere on every evening. The passengers still packing suits and gowns for a 7-night cruise are often the only ones in the room doing it. On a recent Holland America sailing, fewer than 30% of dining room guests dressed formally on the designated formal night. The rest wore collared shirts and dresses. The dress code moved years ago. The packing advice never caught up. Check the current dress policy for your specific cruise line before you start packing. Most lines publish it directly on their website. A sport coat and a nice dress or outfit handles almost every situation on almost every line sailing today. Coming up, the currency prep advice that stopped being necessary about the time ports got reliable ATMs. Number 6. Stop exchanging currency before you leave home. Pre-trip currency exchange made sense when airport kiosks were the main option and foreign ATMs were a gamble. Carrying the local currency meant you were not at the mercy of whatever rate the port offered that day. Bank ATMs at international cruise ports are now widely available and generally reliable. The exchange rate at a local bank ATM is almost always closer to the real rate than what a pre-trip exchange service offers. Pre-trip services, including most banks, typically charge 5 to 10% over the real rate. A traveler who pre-exchanged $500 to euros at an airport kiosk before a Mediterranean sailing got a rate 8% worse than the rate a bank ATM in Barcelona offered that same day. That was $40 lost on a $500 exchange. Check your debit card's international ATM fee structure before you sail. Cards with no foreign transaction fees, Charles Schwab and Capital One 360 are the common examples. Give you close to the real exchange rate at ATMs in port. Skip the pre-trip exchange. Next, the tipping habit that made total sense before automatic gratuities became standard. Number 7. Stop treating cash envelopes as the baseline for tipping crew. Handing cash envelopes to your cabin steward and dining staff at the end of the sailing was how it worked for decades. Direct, appreciated, and the crew depended on it. Most major cruise lines now charge automatic daily gratuities of $16 to $20 per person per day. These go on your onboard account and are distributed across a pool of crew. Many passengers do not realize this charge is on their bill at all. The result is that some passengers bring cash, expecting to tip the traditional way, pay the auto-grat on their account, and then hand cash on top of that. They double tip without knowing it. Know your cruise line's auto-gratuity daily rate before you board. That covers cabin and dining service. Cash for genuinely exceptional service on top of that is always welcome. But it is no longer the baseline the old advice treated it as. Stay with me, the embarkation day ritual that most ships have fully replaced. Number 8. Stop expecting the old muster drill. The physical muster drill, everyone in life jackets at assigned assembly stations, standing in the afternoon heat before the ship could leave, was mandatory on every sailing until 2020. Nearly every passenger dreaded it. Almost every major cruise line now runs an electronic version instead, called an e-muster. You watch a safety video through the cruise line's app or your stateroom TV, then briefly check in at your assembly station for 2 to 3 minutes. The 30-minute group drill is gone. Passengers who show up expecting the old format end up confused. Passengers who do not complete the e-muster check-in on embarkation day get reminders from crew and can delay their own boarding experience. Download your cruise line's app before you board. Complete the e-muster check-in on embarkation day, ideally in the first hour. It is quick, you do it on your own time, and it is the only version that exists on most ships now. Up next, the main dining room loyalty that is quietly costing some travelers money. Number 9. Stop assuming the main dining room is always the best deal. For years, specialty restaurants were an easy call to skip. Overpriced, modest quality gap over the MDR, not worth it. That assessment was often correct. On newer ships from Norwegian and Royal Caribbean in particular, specialty dining has improved noticeably, while the main dining room has faced visible cost-cutting in menu variety and ingredient quality. The gap between the two has widened. It is not the same comparison it was 5 years ago. The calculation also changes when you factor in pre-booking. Specialty dining booked online before sailing is 15 to 25% cheaper than the cover charge on board. On Norwegian in 2025, a specialty steakhouse dinner was $49 per person on board and $39 when pre-booked before sailing. Budget 2 or 3 specialty nights into your trip and book them online before you sail for the lower rate. Keep the MDR as your daily default, but dismissing specialty entirely on lines where the MDR has declined means paying more for a noticeably worse meal. Coming up, the cruise selection habit that misses the one factor that shapes the whole trip. Number 10. Stop choosing a cruise based mostly on the ship. Ship reviews, ship amenities, pool decks, restaurant variety, cabin upgrades, ratings and rankings. That is how most cruisers pick where to book. The ship gets most of the attention. The itinerary is almost an afterthought. Experienced cruisers tend to do it the other way around. The ratio of port days to sea days shapes the texture of the trip more than any feature on the ship. A highly rated ship with 2 port days on an 8-night sailing means 6 days at sea in a crowded floating city. A less reviewed ship with 4 port days on a similar route is a completely different vacation. A cruiser who chose a top-rated Royal Caribbean ship for an 8-night Caribbean itinerary with only 2 port days reported spending most of the trip managing crowds on sea days. A similar itinerary on a different ship with 4 port days would have been a different experience entirely. Check the port day to sea day split before you look at the ship's features. Know which ports are included and whether they match what you actually want to do. The ship is how you get there. The itinerary is where you actually go. Last one, and this one affects your very first hour of the cruise. Number 11. Stop showing up at the port as early as possible. Arriving at the cruise terminal first meant boarding first, which meant pool deck chairs before thousands of other passengers. That was a reasonable strategy when boarding was first come, first served. Almost every major cruise line now assigns embarkation time windows. Your boarding documents specify an arrival slot, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon, and arriving before your window means sitting in a terminal holding area until your group is called. Showing up 2 hours early does not get you on the ship 2 hours early. It gets you 2 extra hours in a terminal chair on the day you were supposed to start your vacation. Passengers who arrive at 7 or 8 a.m. for an 11 a.m. window consistently spend more time in the terminal than anyone else. The early arrival advantage is gone. The terminal waiting time is not. Read your boarding documents and find your assigned time window. Arrive 15 to 20 minutes before it opens. That is the timing that gets you through check-in and onto the ship in the fastest possible path. The cruise industry changed faster in the past 5 years than in the decade before it. Ships got bigger, pricing got more complicated, and booking tools caught up. A lot of the advice still circulating was written before any of that was true. Knowing what actually works now changes what you pay and how the trip goes. That is what the Cruise Smart channel is here for. Subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.